Hello and welcome to Georgia Bulldogs Live here on the Georgia Voice of College Football. I'm your host, Matt Green. There's my co-host over there, Bo Underwood. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Matt. Good to be here. How are you?
Excellent, man. Excellent. It's a college football. It's getting closer every day, sir.
Yes.
Do you
Thank
happen to
God
check
for
out
that.
Happy Gilmore 2 by any chance?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I've heard like mixed things about it, and I need to I gotta rewatch the first one before I go and I see the second one.
I will say, how
But
did you feel about the first one?
I like it. It's funny.
If you if if it was one of your core childhood movies and it's just like an all-time classic, you'll love the movie.
Okay.
If you if you didn't know about Happy Gilmore, like if you're younger and
Yeah.
you don't know about it, or if you're like just didn't really weren't a huge Happy Gilmore fan, you probably won't like it. But it's like for what it was, I don't know, maybe I had low expectations because like there's some comedy sequels that are kind of like whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like, whatever. But then as it got closer and I saw it coming on Netflix, I was like, I feel like I do want to see that. And then for what it was, I feel like it was good. I laughed out loud multiple times. It's like it's a
That's
comedy.
that's good.
It's not gonna win any awards. It's a comedy. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. The idea of like an Adam Sandler legacy sequel kind of scared me at first. Like that just sounds like the worst movie ever. But
Yeah.
like I like Happy Gilmore, and I'm gonna watch it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I saw the Fantastic Four movie this weekend. That was pretty good.
Okay.
It was okay. So yeah,
That's
all
that's
the
our that's our movie review
Superman is good
portion
too.
portion of the show. What was that?
Superman is also really good.
Okay.
Gotta go see that.
But I appreciate everyone who's watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. We are 32 days till college football season, sir. And
Yes.
that is basically a month. And that is good stuff. Georgia what plays on August 30th, is that right?
Yeah. August 30th.
And it is July 29th as we talk here today. Best 32 in Georgia in your Georgia Bulldogs fandom. Bo Underwood,
Let's
who would
see.
that be?
Well, I kind of think I have a feeling who you're gonna say. A certain running back that played in the late '80s. So I'll let you have that.
Late 80s, sir. I'm
Wait.
not that old. How
Well,
old
no,
are you?
you like to say the guys that played, back
Okay,
in the
okay.
day. But I guess I'll start us off with kind of a double whammy. I think that's fair to do for number 32 because these guys were both on the team last year and they're both big contributors. But I'm of course talking about Cash Jones, running back, and Chaz Chambliss, the edge rusher. Cash Jones is, I would say, one of the coolest stories in modern Georgia, like of definitely the Kirby Smart era. I mean, anytime a random walk-on running back, much less one of our skin color, Matt, walks on the team and becomes, a legit, very good player who, has a skill set that is all his own. I think that's really cool. I really just the role that Cash Jones has carved out in recent years as, this satellite backfield threat, like veteran guy, one of the leaders in the team, a hard worker by all accounts. Like I just think that's really cool. And Chaz Chambliss on the other end was, one of the more emotional leaders on that defense and was a very productive player on defense in his own right. So those are the 232s that I think of, but there's another.
Yeah.
There's probably one that's, better than those guys.
Yeah, and Chaz Chambliss is one of those that like the message boards like didn't respect because he's not a 5-star and Georgia's getting all these 5-star recruits. Oh, why aren't we getting these? It's like because dude does his job and he's getting on the field. Like, more than Kirby Smart? Get out of here. But no, I want to say great call by you because some old heads, if they were listening to the show, would have been real disappointed in us. I was not even thinking about the late 80s. And Lars Tate, sir, that's a big time deep track for the old school Georgia fans. Dude only had like 900 something yards his junior year, just over 1,000 his senior year. but he had 16 touchdowns as junior year and 14 as a senior. So, I mean, 17 total touchdowns as a junior. So, like, that's Lars Tate's a good call. That's his second round pick by Tampa Bay. Only lasted like 2 years in the NFL. But yeah, Lars Tate's an old school one that's really good. But my formative years, sir, the early 2000s, Mark Richt's first SEC championship. I got to go with Musa Smith.
Oh yeah,
Musa Smith is that was one of the first fan favorites I kind of remember in my young Georgia fandom, just because of how the crowd would chant Moose every time he got the ball. But yeah, Musa Smith, I don't have his stats in front of me. I want to say he had like 1,300 yards his last year at Georgia, that year they won the SEC championship. Yeah, 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns. And then went third round to Baltimore. I don't think he did much in the NFL though. He wasn't there for long. But
being a running back in the NFL sucks. It's okay.
Yeah, for sure. So Musa Smith, I think is my number 132. But some solid 32s.
Yeah, we've had some good ones. It's
around for Georgia.
It's a really good football number, I'd say. Even though certain Buffalo Bills running back has rendered it kind of infamous recently, but 32 is a good number, man. Shout out to Brian Branch.
What is the reference you're making there?
I was talking about O.J. Simpson.
That went totally over my head. I'm like,
I didn't want to say.
I'm like Marshawn Lynch or
Thomas. Marshawn Lynch is great.
Trying to think? No, I'm trying to racking my brain for Bills running backs. James Cook.
Yeah.
But no, not going down that road.
This is an O.J. Simpson free zone.
Yeah, and then the forgotten linebacker in Georgia's great run of inside linebackers, Monty Rice.
Yes, I was hoping.
Was he like a late second round pick, third round pick?
He went on day 2, to Tennessee. Something funny. When I was a freshman in college, there was a senior in my fraternity who was like really good friends with him. He would like come to their house and hang out like all the time. And I always thought that was the funniest thing. It was like this random frat kid that I knew was like boys with Monty Rice, who is a really nice guy. So yeah.
That's good to know. Really so with Monty Rice, so he started 2020. Did he start 2019 as well? Or
I think he did.
Tate Crowder.
No, was he 2020? Or was he the year before?
He was definitely on the 2020.
Okay, because he started in 2019 as well.
Because he had that fumble recovery, that scoop and score versus Tennessee. Jeremy Pruitt had the whole whatever thing on his head, whatever that was during COVID.
Yeah.
So Tate Crowder, what year was Tate Crowder? Was he 2019?
Mr.
Crowder, he returned that fumble when Eric Stokes drilled but they both had a scoop and score versus Tennessee.
Tate Crowder was 2015 and 2019. But yeah, Monty Rice started 19 and 20 the whole time.
So I guess 2020, I guess it was Quay Walker and a Kobe Dean kind of a three man at that inside linebacker spot.
20, man, they had some.
Yeah, 2020. That's what the 2020 team is so forgotten about.
Every time we talk about this, we get on here, we're like, man, what a I mean, because dude, every time I watch old games from that team or highlights, I'm just like, dang, dude, if only they could have figured out a quarterback a little earlier.
Yeah, if Jake Fromm is the quarterback on that team, like who knows?
Yeah. Or like if JT's the quarterback the whole year and he's healthy.
The
quarterback play is probably a lot better against Florida and Alabama. You're probably not getting 4 picks out of Stetson or out of JT in that Alabama game. But
did he throw 4? How many did they throw versus Florida? Because Dwan Mathis threw at least 1.
Well, because I was looking back at that Florida game for 2020 the other day, and like they both completed, like Bennett and Mathis both got like a similar enough amount of run in that game. They both completed like 30% of their passes. Like go back and if you look at the box score from that Florida game, it's horrifying. Like
I'm pulling it up right now.
Because Zeus had that 75-yard touchdown on the first run of the game, and it was like, oh, hooray, we're gonna beat Florida, and then Florida just
and Zamir White had 7 for 107.
Man. Yeah, dude, it was rough.
After that 75-yard touchdown. But yeah, Stetson, 5 of 16 for 78 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Dwan Mathis, 4 for 13 for 34 yards. 1 touchdown, 2 picks.
even Stetson's touchdown was pretty bad because it was the play that almost ended Marcus Rosemy-Jackson's career.
But it was like a good throw though.
No,
I mean,
it was a good throw,
like
but
the offense looked good because I think they went 14. I know it was like they went 14-0 on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just all the momentum was just sucked out because Rosemy-Jackson just.
I'm pretty sure in that game, not to get political, but I'm pretty sure in that game the results of the 2020 presidential election were called like the day of that game. That's my memory of that. That's my number one memory of that game was that happened.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, it's and that's the game where Dwan Mathis had that famous
he hit the
where he just throwing 10 yards away from someone on the sideline, just drilled. Oh man, that's the worst thing I've ever seen. But yeah, 44-28. Even then, like Georgia, and I don't know if you remember, Mark Webb dropped like what could have been a pick six late in that fourth quarter.
Dude,
it's like they lost by 2 touchdowns.
Really bad year that year. There were a couple really bad Mark Webb plays from that year.
Is that right?
Against Alabama, he got fried.
That's bad. Going up against Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith. It's quartet. That'll happen. God, all right. So 32 days, sir. It's almost August. And it's time to get excited. The awards watch lists have come out. I've only seen a couple. You might have seen more than me. I saw the Outland Trophy. Christian Miller is a candidate or on the watch list, I should say. The Maxwell, Nate Frazier was on the watch list for the Maxwell. I was like, okay. So I assume Doak Walker hasn't come out because he would probably be on there if you're up there for best offensive player in the country. But and then I think you said that Nagurski came out too.
Yeah, the Nagurski came out. There are a bunch of Georgia players on there.
So who is it? Everett, Bolden, CJ Allen, and Christian Miller.
Yes.
on that list.
Georgia having 4, I believe, it's either the most or it's tied for the most of any school.
I'll be honest. I think as a Georgia fan, I think we've I'm not going to say it's an inferiority complex, but there's a chip on our shoulder for a long time. We feel like the media doesn't give us enough credit. It's like, they're not talking about us enough. Our guys don't, I think this year might be the first year that I think we're kind of getting the benefit of the doubt. I think did Georgia have 4 defensive players on first team All SEC in the media? Like I was kind of shocked by that.
Something like that, yeah.
I feel like it's maybe the logo is giving them a little more love than they deserve. But not that I don't think Christian Miller could be great this year. I just think there's, and I don't necessarily know who the more proven defensive linemen are more deserving of him or anything, but I don't know. Dalen Everett. I'm not sure Dalen Everett is where does Dalen Everett stack up against like Kamari Lassiter and Eric Stokes and Keely Ringo or something? Like I don't know that he's as good as any of those guys.
I think he's I think he's a better college player than Ringo was for sure.
You think so?
Yeah. Kamari Lassiter, probably not. Eric Stokes, that's about even. But I mean, Dalen Everett is like one of the best corners in college football. I think his body of work, like he's seen it all, man, and that might be the most valuable skill, other than just being athletic when it comes to playing corner. So I don't know. I'm a pretty big Dalen Everett guy, actually. So
okay,
that's just me.
Yeah, Kamari Lassiter is probably unfair because I think Kamari Lassiter might be the best corner Kirby's had. I mean, DeAndre Baker won
he's one of the better corners in the NFL now.
Kamari Lassiter is just a dog. But I don't know. I feel like, we're fans. I'm not the big X's and O's guy. It felt like lots of times when Georgia's giving up a big play in the pass game, it's Dalen Everett's guy catching it. And maybe that was more 2023 than it was 2024. Maybe I'm not giving him credit for how much better he got last year, because that was kind of the case with Tyson Campbell too, as a true freshman. And then he kind of, came into his own. It was basically a first round pick, right? Like the second or third pick of the second round. So maybe Dalen Everett, becomes that guy. I'm not giving enough credit. I mean, there's not many corners you can just think of kind of taking over 2 individual games. So, I guess you got to give him credit for that. He kind of single-handedly beat Texas twice.
Yeah. I just think that for Dalen, it's like, yeah, I do get it. Like he does give up a lot of big plays, but I think that's just kind of comes with the territory of playing corner in the SEC. I mean, you're guarding you're guarding the best guys in college football, basically, and it's just like, I don't know, man. I feel like maybe this isn't fair for me to say. Maybe it's not fair for me to start throwing hypotheticals out there, but I just feel like there aren't that many guys that would do a better job than Dalen Everett, with the responsibilities that they give him on defense. And I just think corner in general is like, people say this about QBs a lot, but I really think it applies even more to corners, is like, that's a position where if you mess up, you get your name blows up all over Twitter. You get called a football terrorist, this, that, and the third. But when you lock your guy up and, you only get targeted once or two times in a whole game, it just doesn't get talked that much about by fans. And
yeah,
I think Dalen Everett does a good job of that. I think Dalen Everett just cornerback, and I would say is like, unless you're just getting interceptions left and right, I feel like it's just kind of a thankless position, or it's a position where like you got to kind of be a stat nerd and a film nerd and an analytics nerd to really be able to get in the nitty gritty of what makes the best corners great, because it's not a position. I mean, counting stats in football in general, I just don't think paint the full picture of how good a guy is, but especially for corners, like you're not going to look at like tackles and interceptions or even like PBUs to like tell you how good a corner is. It's a lot more based on like the eye test and advanced numbers that most fans just don't really care about. So
and even the PFF grades, even if the PFF grades, until I see them, like, I don't even know.
PFF does not know how to grade coverage.
Yeah,
like, PFF coverage grades suck.
And Kirby clowned him. Was it like last year that he was kind of explicit? Like,
I don't like PFF at all.
But
what did
so
Kirby say?
I can't remember exactly, but I feel like he was kind of like, that's trash or something. I don't look at that or something. I can't remember. I think he specifically said something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, well, according to the Google AI.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. This is from November 2021. Kirby Smart goes, I don't know what analytics you're going by. I think those are a joke, really, personally. When we go talk to NFL scouts, they laugh at PFF or whatever the source may be. Wow. A lot of times, PFF is a guy that works at another job during the day, and that's just his second job to chart whether Darion Kendrick or Nakobe Dean did their job. That's pretty on the nose, man. I think there are a lot of really good metrics you can use, but PFF is just not one of them.
It's funny because my buddy who's a big Florida fan just hated PFF forever. Like, as far as college, like I think in pros, when they're facing similar competition, I think you know, and who knows how their grading system works, but it's at least a little more, maybe it's a little more fair. But he's shit on PFF forever. And so then I remember once Kirby hated on it, we were like, oh, I guess you were right all these years, but yeah, so it's I don't remember how we even started talking about with Dalen Everett.
This is what happens when you talk about cornerback play. It gets weird, man.
Yeah, and maybe corners are always my favorite players growing up. I've always said like Woodson and Champ Bailey, like those are my like all-time favorite players. Maybe I'm judging him unfairly because I'm naming other dudes like Kamari Lassiter. Eric Stokes was a borderline like Thorpe Award winner that year. Like his 2020 year was amazing.
He was like insane that year.
And he had multiple touchdowns too. Yeah. Like Eric Stokes, I feel like kind of gets overlooked of how good he really was. But yeah, so we're judging it with the corners that Kirby has had. It's like Alabama teams, they're constantly judged. I don't know if this team's as good as 2012. It's like, well, they don't have to play 2012 Alabama. So in 2016, they just have to be as good as all those other teams, So it's kind of like now Georgia players are getting judged by previous great Georgia players. And I'm excited. And I admit that people know more than I do. So I hope everyone is right that Dalen Everett is this first team All SEC potential first round pick kind of guy.
Yeah, I will say to your kind of wider point before we derailed the conversation, I was like, Georgia might be getting a little bit more benefit of the doubt from the media. Like you said, like, I do think that's probably true. I think there's a lot more projection involved with this year's Georgia team and its impact players. Like, in years past, there were guys on the roster that you could kind of point at before the season and be like, okay, like Brock Bowers is going to be an All-American, or like, Jordan Davis is going to be an All-American, or even Malachi Starks, guys like that. But it's like there are guys now that could become that kind of player who have that talent, and we know they have it, and the coaching staff has said they have it, but they just don't have the body of work on the field yet. So you're not really going off of established production from these guys. You're projecting what they could do. So I don't think that means Georgia has a bunch of like super overrated players, and we'll be looking back at the preseason All-SEC first team list and being like, wow, what a joke, which maybe we will, but I don't really think that's the case. But I do think you might have to be, just using your imagination a little bit for these.
I think that's true. And I think that's fair to do preseason predictions and you do project a little bit. And it's also another guy we're judging. I'm probably subconsciously judging based on other Georgia players is KJ Bolden. It's like I just saw Malachi Starks basically do the exact same thing, but just be better. But it's like you don't have to be as good as Malachi Starks as a freshman to then be like an all-SEC, all-American projection as a sophomore. You can be – he was just that good as a freshman. Yeah. So KJ Bolden, if I'm judging him, is he as good as Malachi Starks? Maybe not, but that doesn't mean he's not an all-SEC player because Malachi Starks is a rare talent.
Yeah, I mean, the two guys on there that I would really probably feel the best about having – well, maybe not the two guys, because CJ Allen also is someone who have started for a couple of years now. But like Dalen Everett this will be his third year starting. So I feel like he's a pretty known commodity at this point. And then KJ Bolden also started for a whole year and just like has so much room to get better, So it's like, yes, we are at the end of the day projecting a sophomore leap for KJ Bolden, but like, try to watch his freshman year tape and not see something insane in there, because
especially because he's one of those guys. There's a lot of guys like that's what's so crazy about like Jeremiah Smith is like usually these phenom freshmen don't have the NFL body already, and like Jeremiah Smith was an NFL body as a freshman. Like KJ Bolden, he was still really raw for like how good he was as a freshman. Like once that guy, I don't know, puts on another 10, 15 pounds of muscle in Georgia's weight training room, like I'm sure he's going to take his game to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely.
And CJ Allen, it's hard for Georgia fans to get that excited about CJ Allen when we're just like, really like Chris Cole and Justin Williams and Raylan Wilson too. It's like, I love them all.
Well, we don't even know what position Chris Cole is yet. His position is football. But yeah, no, I agree. CJ Allen is like, I guess, just because it's again that thing where we've seen CJ Allen start for 2 years. We know how good of a player CJ Allen is. But like Justin Williams and Chris Cole are like mystery box players where it's like, oh, he could be even better. And it's like
it could even be a boat.
Yeah, it could be a boat. Like, and it's not reasonable to project a guy to be better than CJ Allen because CJ Allen is like really freaking good, man. But I guess that's kind of where it comes from. Is just there's always that excitement of the unknown that doesn't exist when a guy's already started for 2 years.
For sure, and I think that's maybe the one I'm thinking the logo is helping the most. That it's like if you're the best linebacker at Georgia, you're probably first team All SEC. Some media people might just assume that, and it's probably a fair assumption.
LBU.
For sure. And no disrespect to anyone trying to go out there and get a dope single digit, but CJ Allen is a number 33. I'm sorry. That's just I really liked him number 33. He's rocking the single digit. I don't think it fits, but do you get your single digit on? But
he can wear whatever number he wants if he's an All-American.
He gives me more Odell Thurman to Nell vibe.
I a little bit agree with that. We were just talking about Monty Rice. Like, he rocked that 32,
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's keep it moving, sir. The Athletic. And let me start by saying,
what did the Athletic do? Was it Seth Emerson?
I actually don't know who wrote this for the Athletic. But this is a hypothetical exercise because college football teams cannot be purchased, and then so.
I mean,
for right now, they can't be purchased. So hopefully we can all pray that it stays that way and the Georgia Bulldogs can't be just bought for $2 billion and then move the team
Bought by
to
bought
move
by
the
Saudi
team up to
Arabia.
Dahlonega or something. I don't know. So they named their most valuable college football franchises, essentially programs, and 9 SEC schools were in the top 15 of these rankings. And the Georgia Bulldogs came in at number 2, sir.
Yeah.
Number 2 most valuable program in the country. According to their calculations, they are worth $1.92 billion.
Wow.
And the Falcons, for perspective, are worth $5.2 billion. So NFL teams are just worth an insane. Didn't the Panthers sell for like $2 billion or something like that? And that's got to be one of the bottom ones in the NFL, right?
I bet the least valuable is like the Bengals or something.
The Cardinals. I don't know. I feel like me and my wife joke about every time we see the Cardinals that they're just the most. The Cardinals feel like the most irrelevant franchise. I don't know. Like we forget the Cardinals exist.
Well, they're worth $4.3 billion US.
Is that right?
So they're not worthless to everyone, apparently.
Wow. Is that? Do you have a list in front of you?
Michael Wilson, huh?
And they have a great stadium.
Yeah, their stadium is cool. There's been like a lot of Super Bowls there. I feel like every year they don't have a venue for the Super Bowl, they just put it there.
Yeah, they might as well. And also, I don't know why or how they didn't set the standard of like you can put natural grass indoors.
I know. No one does that.
I don't know why everyone's not doing that. Like Real Madrid has some sort of crazy elaborate underground turf system. Like, so it's real grass, but it's like, so I don't know. I hate that they don't have real grass. I hate football not being played on real grass in general.
Fix it.
But yeah, so Texas came in at number 1, $2.38 billion. Georgia number 2 at $1.92 billion. What is your thoughts when you say something like that?
Texas is number 1.
They are.
That's interesting.
And I guess they had the average. Go ahead.
McConaughey on your sideline will do that, but I mean, I was gonna say for Georgia, like winning back-to-back national championships in the last couple of years will do that, but that doesn't really explain Texas, does it?
Yeah. Georgia's average football revenue, average football revenue means their average
money they make
per year of the last 3 years. But I was thinking this isn't cumulative of the last 3 years. This is the average per year of the last 3 years is $147 million a year, and Texas is at 183. Okay. So, and that's a pretty big gap because there's a couple that are right around Georgia. Interesting. Ohio State is third on this list, but they're at 116. And Notre Dame's fourth, but they're up at 143. So Michigan's Florida? At 141. So Florida is down at 12th on this list. And there's, like I said, there's 9 SEC schools in the top 15. Florida is what? 7th in the SEC? Like, that's wild. Like, it's like I do this podcast with this Tennessee guy every week, Chase Thomas, and it's like he hypes up Tennessee in a way. It's like, oh yeah, the 10th ranked recruiting class and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I remember those days when you signed the 10th ranked recruiting class, and it was cool until you realize it was like 7th in the conference. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of, what you're up against. But yeah, so outside of the SEC is Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan, USC, Penn State, and Oregon. Those are the only other teams that made the top 15 that are that weren't in the SEC, and 12 of the top 30 were SEC. So I mean, it's literally everyone but Missouri, Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt. Like that's basically Mizzou. I bet Mizzou hates being in that group. But that's where you are. That's where you are to the rest of us, Missouri. But yeah, what's interesting to me is like without the recent realignment, like the Big Ten would only have 3 of the top 15, and the SEC would have 7. Like, I think that speaks to how superior the SEC has been to the Big Ten. Like, Oregon and Washington and USC like drastically raise like the brands that the Big Ten has, because I think Washington was even like 16 or 17 in here or something.
Yeah. I guess that's just because like the SEC still has some semblance of geography to its conference for now. I know they have like Missouri and like Oklahoma and Texas now, but like, at least it's not like the Big Ten where it's
It
like
is still
the Big Ten.
contiguous.
It's like here's a school from Ohio. They're gonna play a school in Oregon. Like that doesn't make any sense. So
I hate it so much.
Yeah. So I guess like my point with that is just like the Southeast in the U.S. is just maniacal about college football and has been for quite some time now. So I guess those schools are just kind of those schools are grandfathered in as like huge money makers and things like that. Whereas like the Big Ten, up until the conferences got all messed up and everything, like the Big Ten had some flagship programs, but it wasn't a thing where like there weren't 6-7 programs in the Big Ten where like football was a religion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some Big Ten fan would get really mad hearing me say that and they start listing all these different schools. But that's just kind of the feeling I get because I don't think anyone compares to the Southeast in terms of just being crazy about college football. And I think
they probably would take offense to that. And I think that's what the argument always becomes, that like the depth of the SEC always gets questioned. But it's like, especially now that's at 16, but even before Texas, Oklahoma, like if nothing else, there's like 8 to 10 programs that like expect to like compete.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And it's like the Big Ten cannot say that. There's 3. Yeah, Wisconsin and Iowa doesn't even expect to win for championships. No. And they've probably been like a top 5 Big Ten team over the last 20 years. And Penn State, you could argue how close they've ever actually legitimately gotten. You know what I mean? They didn't get as close as like the Mark Richt years or anything like that. And I think a lot of people would kind of talk about Georgia and Mark Richt like they were irrelevant or something. Like they weren't a championship contender, even though, we know how good they actually were, just never great, unfortunately.
But they are one of those schools though that like they do have a great fan base though. I would say
Penn State for sure.
Like they belong up there in like the upper echelon, just as brands and programs and like I know that the Penn State brand has been soiled in recent years, but before all that, like Penn State football was like a religion,
the brand made a comeback. It definitely had a hiccup.
Some of us will never forget about that, but
no, and you shouldn't. You should never forget. But yeah, so I think this was an interesting list, just seeing how these teams are kind of evaluated. Like USC is 8th, and 71 million is their average revenue. Like by far less than like anyone in like the top 20. So I'm kind of confused at their evaluation.
It's all the money that was backloaded from the Pete Carroll era that was funneled in.
Yeah, maybe that. I mean, how they talk about like the LA, like the Angels, like when they changed their name to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, they were immediately worth like $1 billion more. Exactly. So maybe that's what it is.
But thing ever. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Man, I know Anaheim residents were pissed, bro. But like such a joke.
Like Tennessee is at 124 million annual revenue, and USC they're one spot behind USC at 71. So that's kind of crazy. But yeah, the list: 1 Texas, 2 Georgia, 6. I'm just reading the SEC teams: 6 Alabama, 9 Tennessee, 10 LSU, 12 Florida, 13 Auburn, 15 A&M. And then it keeps going. It's who else is it? I didn't write the other one. I didn't number the rest of them, but who's in there?
A&M probably spends more money on recruiting than they're worth as a team. They're probably
probably they might break even.
Yeah.
Arkansas, Ole Miss, South Carolina are both in the top 30. But yeah, in top ACC school, Florida State at 18. Clemson at 22. So
damn. I bet Dabo wants Clemson to be as low as possible.
Just a little old Clemson.
They're not. Clemson ain't learned nothing but the word of the Lord.
Yeah, exactly. And then Utah, TCU at 29 and 30, the only Big 12 schools that made it.
Shout out to Utah.
Shout out to the Utes.
Shout out to TCU too. Sorry about that, Natty, that one time.
Yeah, I try to. we beat them so bad that everyone acts like they were garbage, and it angers me. Like, this isn't the BCS. They didn't vote them number 2. Like, they beat Michigan to get there.
Player on offense was Quentin Johnston.
Yeah,
they had no chance.
And hey, Max Duggan, he was a Heisman finalist. He had heart, you know.
He did. He had a lot of height. He was very fun to watch. That whole team was great. Shout out to
I enjoyed.
they were fun, but
it was a great. I remember that Baylor game when they had the fire drill. To win it at the buzzer.
That was pretty awesome.
That was good stuff. I feel like that TCU team was fun
a really
to watch.
Good game. I forgot about that game.
And then it was 7-7, right? Like Georgia scored, and then they came right back down. It was like, okay, we got a game on our hands.
Max Duggan ran it in. It was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
no, did not have a game.
That and then 58 unanswered after that.
It'd be like that sometimes.
It's good stuff. I need to rewatch that one. That's a fun. That's a fun watch.
I sometimes do, like, real late at night when I like need something to put on in the background and I know that I'm gonna like do something else. I'll just like let that play. It's great. I love when I get to the fourth quarter and I see like Branson Robinson's in the game. I'm like, nice, dude.
Yeah. I actually had the Oklahoma Rose Bowl on while I was working the other day, and the play that gets me like the most excited in that whole game is after Chubb's touchdown to start the second half. That cut it to 7.
Was that like the insane one where he broke, like he like ran through the defense?
He just ran up the middle, and then he just busted out. Yeah, and then ran for like 50 yards.
Yeah.
And Hardman almost took that punt to the house too, because they had to get a 3 and out after all of that. Oklahoma got the ball to start the second half, but after Chubb's touchdown, then Oklahoma gets it and they go 3 and out. And on the third down is the play where it's like Baker is like kind of running out. He doesn't know which way to go. And then it's just like Lorenzo Carter, Roquan, I think maybe Ledbetter, just all 3 kind of swarm him. And it's just like the whole place is going nuts because we have all the momentum now. And it's just like, it's like the classic junkyard dog type stuff, you know, just swarming. It was that play always gets
whenever it's like a gang sack, it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just kind of got broken down. It's kind of chaotic, especially because Baker's the Heisman Trophy winner that kind of runs around and makes plays. So it's like whenever you bottle that up, it was that gets the juices flowing.
To Lorenzo Carter on his retirement, by the way.
Yes, sir. Gwinnett County great.
Yes.
So let's move to recruiting, sir. There's a little bit of recruiting. Georgia's on commit watch, I think. So also 24/7 just updated their rankings. So Georgia's sitting at the number 1 recruiting class right now. And I've always said that 24/7 has the best rankings. You know, I think it's clear now that they think Georgia's number 1. No, but On3 rivals, whatever you want to call them, Georgia's still sitting at number 2 in those rankings with 30 commits, I think. But we're on commit watch, sir. Brett Collegier is announcing on Friday, guard at an IMG Academy. I think top 200 in the rankings or so. 4-star. I think he's an interior offensive lineman. And then Anthony Lonin, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce his name. Anthony Lonin Jr., I should say, from Clark Central.
Gladiator, right around the backyard.
Absolutely, sir. It just gets you excited to get a Clark Central. Cedar Shoals is right there too, right? Like Cedar Shoals. And to get a Cedar Shoals.
There's Cedar Shoals, Clark, and Athens Academy. But everyone goes to the public schools.
I don't think Georgia's got many Athens Academy guys that I can remember.
I'm trying to think of. Yeah, I don't think
was the transfer the dude from Tennessee? Was he at Athens Academy?
Oh,
Lyneth Whitehead.
You know what? I think he was actually. Let's give.
I think he's one of those Athens private schools. He is Athens Academy.
Yeah, he went to Athens Academy.
Oh, there you go. So we've got one. Quentin Moses, I know, is a Cedar Shoals guy back in the day. But also R.I.P.
He's there now.
Yeah, R.I.P. to Quentin Moses, right? Didn't he?
He did. He passed away. He passed a couple years ago. It was a really tragic accident, wasn't it? Wasn't it a fire?
I can't remember. Quentin Moses was a stud, man. He was a great him and Pollock as a pass rush duo. That was big time. And then Charles Johnson too on that 05 team.
Yeah, they were nice. They had some dogs.
Yeah, is that Rodney Garner era of defensive linemen? They produced some big time defensive linemen back then. But yeah, what's his name? Hezekiah Melinder.
Hezekiah Melinder, quarterback.
Yeah, so that's the first player I can remember from Clark Central. I don't know if you can remember another one.
I think for me too, yeah. And Melinder was supposed to go to Boise like for the longest time, and then at the last second he flipped. But
yeah, so
who knows? Have a local boy there.
Who knows what could happen with him? But yeah, I think Georgia is projected to land both of these if you listen to what Jake Rowe and certain Georgia experts have to say. But yeah, so I think that'd be 32 commits, and I think Anthony Lonan Jr. isn't super highly ranked, if I'm remembering right. 24/7 has him as a 3-star,
like a fringe 4-star.
But the composite has him as a 4-star. Yeah, he's like top 300. And then Brett Collier, same thing. He's a 3-star on 24/7's rankings, but borderline 300, 4-star in the composite rankings. So that's the one thing I'm bummed about with Rivals and On3 merger is I like the multiple opinions. Like I feel like I like to be able to average out a lot of opinions, and because I feel like the composite ranking is just the best, or the industry ranking, whatever they have. I feel like just the cumulative opinion of a guy is what I like to see.
Business always suffers when two conglomerates, titans of the industry merge. That can only lead to just degradation of the product.
We have less choices as consumers.
It's not good, man. It's not good. It's not good for the consumers. It's not good for competition or any of that.
I'm with you, man.
There's your economics lesson on Georgia at the college football.
Get real political on the show tonight over there, Bo.
That was economical. That had nothing to do with politics.
No, I hear you, man. You see Carson Beck and Mark Richt's comments at Carson Beck? His line? That was pretty great.
I think we talked about that last week when he was like, "You got paid more than I did to go to Miami." Yeah. That was funny. I love Mark Richt, man. He's a funny dude every now and then.
Yeah,
Beck took it in stride. He was a good sport.
Oh yeah, gotta love Mark Richt. I do hate seeing Mark Richt on ACC Network though. Is that a hot take? I hate seeing. He's an SEC legend, man. He shouldn't be talking ACC football. He's above ACC football.
He spent a lot of time in the SEC though too. I mean ACC too. Like he coached at Florida State for however long, and he played at Miami. So like, and
you know what he is. You know what Mark Richt is.
Mark
Richt is the Greg Maddux of Georgia. He because he started with the Cubs and he ended with the Cubs. So he's like, I'm basically equal to Cubs and Braves. It's like, no, bro, your best years are clearly with the Braves. What are you talking about? You won a championship, multiple Cy Youngs, but he's one of those that went in the Hall of Fame without a logo.
Yeah, that pissed. And
it's like, dude, you're a Brave. Get out of here. So Mark Richt started with Miami, ended with Miami. He's like, I'm an ACC guy.
Yeah.
No, you're a Georgia Bulldog always, Mark Richt. I guess at Florida State too. I wasn't even thinking about Florida State. Yeah, that's another decade. Okay, maybe his better years were
for a long time there.
Yeah, maybe there's like 2 or 3 championships he was a part of at Florida State. I don't know. I totally forgot about the coordinator years. Maybe he didn't do more in the ACC because I guess he didn't even play in the ACC. They probably weren't even playing in the Big East. Miami is probably like independent at that point.
They
early 80s.
Don't they? Mark Richt is just an all-around legend. Is the takeaway to be had here? I think
absolutely, sir. It was great. Yeah, made the same move, Athens and Miami, but Beck got paid a little bit more. That's good stuff.
Funny joke.
But our main topic of the evening, sir. Fall practice, fall camp.
They call it camp. Yeah,
fall camp. Call it fall practice.
I guess they're fall. Because they have bunk beds and they sleep there overnight. And they wake up.
Okay.
They sing song. They stay in cabins and at night they roast marshmallows over an open fire and they tell
ghost stories. Forever.
Once there was a quarterback named Fatone Balta. Woo!
Oh man. Who was like Tebow, but he gave him one start and we just decided not to call any runs for this guy. Why aren't we just running up the middle with this guy? I don't know. I was at that game.
Rick's called one pass play too many there.
Fun fact for you. I've been to 3 Georgia-Florida games, and 2023 was the first time I ever got to see the starting quarterback. First Georgia-Florida game I ever went to was 05. DJ Shockley was out. We had to see Joe Tereshinski. And then 2015, Joe Tereshinski did catch a touchdown pass. But yeah, 2015 was the Fatone Bauta game, and that was the game Mark Richt's like. Speaking of Mark Richt was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. Throw that guy out there.
That was kind of it for him.
Maybe we'll capture lightning in a bottle. I don't have any better ideas.
Dude,
I think.
Yeah.
Supposedly the decision was made that night. That's what the stories are. That
he jumped the shark right there.
Like Kirby Smart was called that weekend. Like,
yeah, Richt was known for doing stuff like that. That was like these drastic measures to try to fire up the team. Like, I have a YouTube video coming soon about like all the different times he tried to like use alternate uniforms to like make them play better, or like random quarterback change. He would do stuff like that sometimes.
Hey, it worked in 2007.
It did work. It worked one time. It was awesome. It just didn't work again.
Or maybe that team was just good in 2007. So the black jerseys worked that year too. It's amazing how things work when you have good players.
Let's talk about fall camp now.
Let's talk about fall camp. That's a great segue into fall camp and all the Mike Bobo hate. Well, because I feel like it's like that's the point I always go back to. It's like, I mean, I'd love to see the plays that work when the receiver doesn't catch the ball. Like, let me see those plays in the playbook. But we're not going to get off on that tangent right now, sir. Fall camp is starting on Thursday, I believe.
Yeah.
And what off the top of your head? What are some of the top storylines, position battles you're looking for going into fall camp?
I really am excited to see what they do with the secondary. I don't really expect them to. Maybe I could see cornerback being figured out by the end of fall camp in terms of like who the 2 starters are going to be, because obviously Everett has one of them locked down, and then it's going to be between Daniel Harris, who had a great spring, had a great G-Day, had some starting experience towards the end of last year, and Ellis Robinson the fourth, who, as we know, is like an 8-star recruit and one of the highest rated signees of all time and all of this. And we all sit here and we salivate over his high school huddle and everything. But, so I'm really interested in seeing, what goes on in that DB battle. And then also the whole safety room. I feel like, it's obviously KJ Bolden coming back, who we both expect a big year out of course, but then it's 3 transfers. It's Zion Branch, or it's 2 transfers and Zion Branch and Jaden Harris. And then you have a veteran in Ja'Cory Thomas, who's really been around for a long time. And, I would assume knows the defense quite well at this point. So they have to figure that out. And I honestly, if I had to guess, I think it's really good for them that they have these 2 cupcake games in week 1 and 2, because they can just kind of platoon all those guys and just kind of figure it out from there. And then also, I wonder if there will be any push for Janelle Aguero's star position, because they've given Janelle Aguero plenty of chances to like lock down that role of star, and I just didn't really feel like he wowed me the way that I was kind of hoping he would last year. So I wonder if they'll give a guy like Adrian Maddox, or like even like a DeMello Jones. Like I wonder if there's going to be any surprises at star, because I think there could be.
That's interesting. See, I think Aguero, what we've seen of him on the field, I think he's like the clear star. Like, if he's healthy, I almost don't think it's a competition there. The problem is, I mean, what is this, his 3rd year on campus? And I feel like he's rarely been healthy to this point. I would have bet you a lot of money. I would have almost guaranteed after the spring portal ended, or winter portal, whatever you're calling it.
It's like 3 now.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. But after the portal and the guys Georgia got, I would have almost guaranteed that Georgia would be starting 1 transfer in the secondary, because we went out and got 3 safeties for a reason. Now I'm not so sure. I feel like the more I hear, I'm just like, maybe Ja'Cory Thomas is one of the starters opposite KJ Bolden, and maybe it's just Aguero at the star. and Georgia is just, I would just be surprised if Georgia goes out and gets 3 dudes in the secondary and none of them start.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, man. Because, like, I mean, they flipped Adrian Maddox from their biggest rival. Like, they wouldn't have done that if they didn't think that, he was a really good player. Like, every report when they got the 2 Branch brothers is like, you might have, like, I know people might assume that they were, like, viewed as a package deal, and maybe they were in some aspect. But, like, everything that we've heard them say has been like, we recruited them both separately as if they weren't even brothers, So it's like, it's not like you can just say Zion Branch was some throw in because they also got Zachariah. So, like,
yeah,
it takes a lot to recruit these guys out of the portal. And I'm kind of with you. I'd be really surprised if maybe all 3 of them just come here and they just get beat out in camp and that's the end of it. And it's another story of, just the grass is not always greener on the other side. But, like, I'd be really surprised if at least one of these guys doesn't end up becoming a solid contributor on this defense.
Yeah, I would also be kind of worried because it, like, just reading between the lines, it's like, we don't know. Ja'Cory Thomas could have had an amazing spring and he's gotten so much better and he's taken that step, Maybe these guys look good at other places and they go up against Georgia players. It's like, oh, actually the guys that aren't playing at Georgia are a little better than you think.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be the case. And Ja'Cory Thomas could be a really good player. But at least Kirby Smart felt the need to go get 3 dudes. And if none of them are good enough to start, it might worry you that none of them are that good. But also, I don't know if they call them star chasers, maybe stargazers. I don't want to be a stargazer, but man, I really want to see Ellis Robinson on the field. Like, I know Daniel Harris had a great spring. I just, man, like you said, this guy, when you see a guy who's the number 1 corner in the country, or not just number 1 corner, but he's number 1 corner. Like,
he's like the number 2 player. Like,
you think of guys like Derek Stingley or somebody, that just comes in, day 1 starts, and then he's a top 10 pick. Was he a top 5 pick?
Derek, yes, he was the 3rd pick of the draft, and he is now the best corner in the NFL. So.
Yeah, and so it's like, I want that. I want my Derek Stingley. I want my Patrick Peterson.
Yeah.
And obviously Georgia's got great corners. We're just talking in general, always has good cornerback play, and we're talking about Dalen Everett earlier on in the show. But I just want Ellis Robinson to be the difference maker that this guy is supposed to be coming out of high school. I think that's just.
I do too.
No disrespect to Daniel Harris.
I think anytime you get a recruit like that, it's fair to want to see him on the field. And Ellis Robinson, to me, maybe this is just me basing this off of nothing, but I feel like he has just enough, he's had just enough moments where he gets on the field and he does something, or he's had, a practice clip go viral, or he has like a crazy G-Day rep. Like, he has just enough of those flashes to where it will convince you that he's ready to go, as someone who, like me, who doesn't know anything, who's just watching from his couch and, tweeting about it. It's like, I swear, he could play right now. And it's like, man, you eventually want to see him. And also in this era of college football, I think it's also fair to want to play him just so that he doesn't transfer. Because, I don't know Ellis Robinson personally or anything, but I was at a couple of his press conferences, or his first press conference last year in the spring, where they were like, Ellis, what was it like coming in as this 5-star recruit, top 5 hotshot guy and not playing at all? And he was like, yeah, it was tough and it was frustrating. And I think what he said, his words were like, I didn't get what I wanted out of my freshman year, or something like that. Maybe I'm putting words in his mouth, but you hear a guy say something like that with that pedigree, who could get every big offer from every big school if he wanted to enter the portal, and it's like, it's almost fair to want to play him just for that reason. And I know that goes back to something Kirby Smart said at SEC Media Days, where we talked about that a couple weeks ago, where it was like, a big problem in college football is guys aren't getting pushed hard enough because they don't want them to transfer. So it's you don't really want to do that to a kid, but also you don't want the kid to transfer. So what do you do?
Yeah, no, it's definitely fair. What you said reminded me of a guy like Richard LeCount or something that was big time. And it's he got on the field a little bit as a freshman, and it's you just knew It's like even though he didn't have much experience as a freshman, you just knew as a sophomore, like this dude's gonna be a baller. And there was some of those like freshmen or some of those practice clips that like would go viral and stuff too. But yeah, hopefully we see that. I remember what was it? Yeah, George Pickens had that one catch that was just
George Pickens over the summer before his freshman year started.
Yeah,
insane.
I remember like okay, so he's amazing.
He does that once a week in the NFL now, like
right.
You know?
Oh, now he's playing for the Cowboys. It's hard to root for the Cowboys.
I know.
And then the quarterback position, I think is I don't know what we're gonna learn, in fall camp. Like the fact that Gunnar is the SEC Media Days guy, we're all reading into that a lot. That like clearly he's like a leader of the team. So it doesn't feel like it's a true competition here, but Kirby's not naming a starter or whatever. So, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know what we can truly learn in the spring unless. I mean, I guess if Puglisi starts, it would have to mean that he just balled out and he was just left no doubt or something.
Yeah, that would be pretty insane to see Puglisi starting because, like I agree. Like the SEC Media Days thing at first seemed like a huge tip-off, right? Like they would not be sending the backup quarterback to this, but maybe they would, and maybe it really is just completely open. And right now, when Kirby Smart goes to bed tonight, he doesn't know who he's going to start week 1. But I kind of have a hunch that maybe he just doesn't want to name a starter just as a coaching tactic, forcing other coaches to prepare for multiple guys, not giving them the luxury of only locking in on watching Gunnar Stockton film. And I don't know, maybe that's just me making something up. It probably is, but I would be really I know they're not technically naming a starter, but what percent chance do you give Ryan Puglisi starting week 1?
Like less than 5%.
Yeah, me too. My jaw would hit the floor. That would be Kirby Smart
outside of a Gunnar injury.
Of course.
Honestly,
I just mean purely football decision. We could start either one of these guys. We're starting Ryan Puglisi. That's nothing against Ryan Puglisi. I think Ryan Puglisi is pretty good from everything, the limited game action that we've seen him in. But it's Gunnar Stockton just started a college football playoff game. He took over for the second half of the SEC championship. He won them that. The whole team seems to freaking love the guy. He's been at Georgia this will be his 4th year on campus. He got sent to SEC Media Days. He is doing promos with EA Sports for college football, which I know that's Kirby Smart would not bonk me over the head if he heard me using that as a reason for why a guy's going to be the starting quarterback. But all of that to say, there's no way, right? There's no way this is actually going to come down to the wire. I would be
shocked. I want to ask Kirby Smart a question. Are quarterbacks allowed to wear single-digit numbers at Georgia?
Hey,
can you think of one?
Jaden Rashada did it, right? No,
he was number 10.
He won number 10.
Eason was 10.
Oh, man.
DeJuan Mathis was 2. And Justin Fields, I guess, was 1.
Justin Fields. Yeah,
I think every other because there's that picture of the quarterback room a couple years ago, and it's 12, 13, 14, 15, all the quarterbacks.
I think there was some random backup that wore number 9 a couple of years ago. It was I don't even remember the guys.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a random thought, not important.
That's interesting. I never thought about that.
But yeah, I mean, I really just want to see these receivers. I think I'm just so excited about Georgia's receivers. I don't know what we're going to learn in fall camp, but I just want to hear. I want to hear that this receiving group is just as improved as we all want it to be. Who's the name? Black? Is it Thomas Blackshear? Is that his name? True freshman. He's a guy who's getting hype, and it's that's how it always seems to be with Georgia. Georgia signs a 5-star or something, and then this is the guy who's creating some buzz. It's Georgia goes out and an AD Mitchell or something, a 3-star, borderline 4-star kind of dude comes in and is just oh yeah, by the way, this guy's a baller. Who knows? I think he's the number 8 receiver or something right now, but yeah, I mean, outside, I mean, right now, just this pecking order. Maybe we get a better idea of what the pecking order is after the fall. But I mean, I think it's Colby Young. I think it's Noah Thomas. It's Zachariah Branch. You hear more and more about Dylan Bell potentially playing more running back. I don't know if Georgia needs him in the backfield. Like, I just love Dylan Bell as an athlete, just as a weapon on offense. And then who am I not even naming? London Humphrey, Sokovie White,
CJ Wiley,
and Taylon Taylor. So I just think this group, if Thomas Blackshear is a guy who's creating a buzz over here, like, I don't know. I think this group could just be insanely deep this year.
Yeah, I think it's fair to expect them to use at least, 6 guys in a rotation. I would imagine, like, right now it'd be at your X, you would have Noah Thomas and Colby Young. At your Z, you'd probably be starting Dylan Bell, I'd imagine, just because he's been there forever and he knows all the calls and all the signals and everything. And he's also just, like you said, he's a great athlete, even though I think he drops the ball too much. But you probably have Dylan Bell, like London Humphreys, and then in the slot, it would be Zachariah Branch and then like Sokovie White. And then beyond that, those are all the guys that aren't freshmen. And I think it's fair to assume, like, at least one of these freshmen and or redshirt freshmen is going to work his way into that rotation. I'm not going to say that any of them is just going to break out and be a huge star, although ask me on the right day about what I think about CJ Wiley and I might tell you something crazy, So, but yeah, I think it is going to be a pretty deep group, and I do expect that to easily be the most improved position on the team.
And I think that's where, as Georgia fans, we're just kind of like, we keep comparing this team to like other Georgia teams, and they don't have to be as good as other Georgia teams.
No,
because it's like I hear other fans talk about their team and kind of the amount of freshmen that they're relying on to kind of make a difference, and I feel like I'm almost trained now under Kirby Smart to not expect anything from a freshman. Like, anything we get from a freshman is just a bonus. And we have a damn good team, and then all of a sudden, Brock Bowers is the best offensive player. You got a really good team, and then all of a sudden Malachi Starks is an impact player. Michael Williams or something like that.
Yeah.
Like Nate Frazier, a guy a year ago. So, and they ended up kind of needing Frazier. He wasn't exactly a cherry on top.
That was not a luxury at all. That was
like,
please speak.
Not at all. So, maybe it's that sort of situation where it's a deep group, and any impact from a freshman is because these freshmen are the real deal, and they're getting some snaps as well. And then the tight end group is just, obviously it could be better because you could have Brock Bowers, but in terms of how deep it is, like, it's just like Jaden Riddell is a guy I always forget about, but like with Delp and Lucky, like, I don't think there's a team in college football that has two better tight ends like than Delp and Lucky. Like, I think Lucky is the closest thing that Georgia has to a Brock Bowers in terms of just a dynamic receiving threat at that position. But Delp is just a great all-around tight end, I think. And maybe I'm selling him short for how good of a receiver he is, but I have no doubts on how good the tight end group is. Yeah. And like I said, Jaden Riddell, like the third one, and then Elias Williams and Ethan Barbour coming in. Like, it's just kind of stupid. Am I forgetting someone?
Colton Heinrich also there.
There you go.
Yeah, so, it's a sick group. Sorry.
For sure. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, I think Riddell is going to – I would love to see Riddell get on the field a good bit. They redshirted him last year. I mean, they like to get pretty freaky with their tight ends. The amount of times they'll come out in 12 or 13 personnel. Like, They come out in two tight end sets a lot. And obviously Delp and Lucky are going to be the two guys on the field for that. But Jaden Riddell also, coaching staff seems to love him. He's super athletic. Like, this tight end room, I think has potential to be like the strength of the team, or one of the biggest strengths of the team. I mean, you have Oscar Delp. Yeah, I agree. Like, not a flashy player by any means. And, it's not really his fault that he had to come in and be the starter right after Brock Bowers. That just kind of sucks to follow. But yeah, he's a great blocker, really good in the red zone. I think he had like 4 touchdowns to end the year last year. I mean, like, he, the amount of times he's able to just like block a guy, chip off, get open, all of a sudden catch a pass in the red zone or in the flat. Like, that's where his value, I think, is as a receiver. Is just like the amount of times he can, release off a block and just kind of squiggle open. And then, you have Lucky. That's your more conventional receiving threat. And he's been a very solid player for a while now. So I'm excited about the tight end room. I would love to see Jaden Riddell get on the field a good bit this year. That would be really fun.
Yeah, for sure. The worst thing that happened to Oscar Delp was that one-handed catch he made against Florida, and in the first game, Bowers was out. It was like, oh, Georgia's not going to miss a beat. This guy's just as good. But no.
Yeah, no one.
I
Bowers.
Yeah. And then the O-line, I feel like the O-line is kind of, it wasn't very good last year, so it's kind of, it's a silver lining. But I feel like there's more experience than I feel like people are giving credit to this offensive line group. Like Micah Morris is a guy who's played a lot of football, and he's not a returning starter. Drew Bobo has played a decent amount. Like Jared Wilson had some injuries last year. So, and he's also the son of a 20-year offensive coordinator. Like this guy has to know the game pretty well, right?
He was famously the head coach's ring bearer.
Oh, is that right?
He was the ring bearer at Kirby Smart's wedding.
Oh, that's awesome. But I guess if your dad doesn't know ball, then I guess it doesn't help you, right? I guess.
I would hope his dad knows a little ball.
No,
he's employed as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, exactly. But Ernest Green, Monroe Freeling, both back. Who's left? Is Monroe Freeling
They're
left?
flipping them. That's what I was gonna say. Is like there is experience there's experience on this offensive line, but it still also looks completely different because even the guys that are coming back are not the same. Ernest Green is switching to right, and Monroe Freeling is playing left, and then you have Michael Morris at guard. Drew Bobo at center, and then I guess the only thing we haven't really figured out yet is who's going to be that other guard between Calhoun and Ulini.
And you think there's any chance Juan Gaston is the right guard?
I wouldn't think he'd start right away. I mean, you think about it. It was Daniel Calhoun's job to lose in the spring. Maybe not his job to lose, but he definitely seemed to have kind of the inside track. Then he got injured right before G-Day, had to miss it. So Michael Ulini gets to start. So I think it's going to be between those two guys. I think they're going to give both of those guys every chance to get it before they start moving down the list.
Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, I mean, I think as Georgia fans, like with all of these conversations, it's like we're really worried about this O-line group. But I think this is more experience and a higher pedigree than a lot of other teams have to begin with. And so we're just like, yeah, but we can't be the best in the country with this offensive line. It's like, maybe not. Maybe they could be, but maybe you don't have to be the best in the country. But, Georgia's just used to having one of the elite offensive lines, and we need to get back to that and not have the 15th ranked running game in the SEC.
Yeah, like I don't think it's a patchwork offensive line by any means. It's probably going to be one of the better ones in the SEC, but it's fair. Like you look at last year, I think there were just subjectively better players on that offensive line, particularly in the interior with Ratledge, Fairchild, and Jared Wilson. And I feel like they still kind of underperformed. And maybe that means those guys aren't as good as I think they are, but I don't really think that. I don't really think that's the case, and I don't think NFL scouts thought that was the case, which is why they all went on day 2. So I don't know, man. It's hard to see. I guess where I land with this offensive line at the end of the day is I don't think it's going to be some disaster that derails the whole offense. But I have a hard time imagining it will be a substantial improvement over what we saw last year, because I just feel like last year was a more talented group.
I guess that's true. I would almost be surprised if it wasn't substantially better, because it doesn't seem like Georgia can be as bad as they were in 2024. You know what I mean? Even though the talent level, it's that's more of just a vibes thing, because I don't know the exact individuals that are going to make it better, but it's surely, not to call you Shirley, but surely it can't be as bad as it was in 2020. That's the worst run game Georgia's had in 20 years.
Yeah, I know, but that's what makes it so scary to think about as a Georgia fan, right? Is Yeah, that was like the worst Georgia run game like in a while, and they have news. Those guys are all, Jared Wilson was a first year starter, but all they were saying about him that whole spring leading up to this was that he was like the man, and he was
Yeah.
really good. And then you had Ratledge, who's a team captain coming in. You have Fairchild,
Yeah.
who was a returning starter, all SEC guy.
Not to mention ETN.
Yeah, exactly. Another established player. And it's like, yes, these guys that they have now also, were blue chip recruits, and some of them have been with the program for a long time, and a lot of them have game experience. But it's like you just don't. I feel like you cannot feel as good about this offensive line as you could have the year before, and the year before was an underperformance. So I just don't.
Yeah. No, I think that's definitely fair. And if you, as Georgia fans who are truly watching every snap last year, like I think national people might see Trevor Etienne like, yeah, he was whatever for Georgia, and see his stats, but it's you watched every game, it's like he was like the best playmaker on the field for Georgia.
Yeah.
And like he was getting 3-yard runs where he would make 4 people miss.
Exactly.
Like he did a lot for this offense. And so yeah, bad running game, and you lose the best running back and the 3 best offensive linemen. I don't know that it's going to be better, but
how is it going to be better? Like,
I don't know. I just feel like it can't be worse.
I guess we could start talking about the running backs then, because that's another, if the run game is going to be better than it was for Georgia last season, I would venture to say that would be in large part due to Josh McCray, who is the big shiny new power back that they picked up out of the portal from Illinois. His coming off, I think it was like his total stats on the season were like pretty good. It was like 750 rushing yards and like 7 or 8 touchdowns. His last game was a bowl game where he averaged like 10 yards a carry and scored 2 touchdowns. This guy's like 6'1", 235, huge kid. They're letting him wear number 2, which you and I are both big jersey number aficionados. I feel like that always says something. I really think that this guy could be a really good compliment to Nate Frazier.
Yeah,
he's a much bigger back, kind of more in that Kendall Milton mold, and that's kind of what Georgia needed last year. Is like ETN was like a physical back, and he ran hard, and he fought for extra yards every time. Don't get me wrong, but like at the end of the day, Trevor Etienne cannot do anything about the fact that he's just a small guy naturally.
Yeah,
like you can only be that much of a bruiser when you're 5'7", 200 or whatever Trevor Etienne is, and Josh McCray is like much bigger than that. And I think that is kind of an element that Georgia's running game didn't really have last year after Roderick Robinson just kind of missed the whole year. Between him coming back and them getting McCray, I think the run game is going to have a much needed element of like oomph to it that it didn't really have last year.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think ETN was almost more of that like DeAndre Swift kind of mold of like he's physical for a elusive, shifty guy. Yeah, but it's like he's not the guy you want consistently between the tackles, like a Kendall Milton. Like Dejon Edwards had Kendall Milton to get. Although Dejon Edwards could squeak through those holes. He was slippery, but yeah, and McCray had 10 touchdowns last year. I think that's I mean, I didn't watch every Illinois game, but I'm assuming some of those were short yardage, and he's that that kind of bowling ball that can get some physical yards. But I mean, outside of them, that's why I think maybe Dylan Bell, we do see him get some carries. Maybe it's Bo Walker. I don't know if I haven't heard much about Dwight Phillips. Who else did you say?
Chauncey Bowens looks pretty good.
Chauncey Bowens, that's right.
I don't know. I kind of hope that this is nothing against Dylan Bell, because he did have some. He looked pretty nifty at running back every now and then, but I kind of hope that Dylan Bell remains just an emergency option for the backfield.
Yeah,
because I don't want Georgia to just kind of. I think it would be kind of bad if Georgia was giving up on this group, and giving the ball to a wide receiver so much, because like. they always invest a lot in the running back position, and it's coming off of a down year as a whole. I think it would be kind of deflating to see Dylan Bell snaps in the backfield. It would be like, we still haven't figured this out, so we're going to try what we tried against Ball State in 2023.
Was that the game?
Something like that. It was one of those first games, I think. That was when he had like a 25-yard rushing touchdown.
Yes, and he looked good at running back. That's the only thing, except for the number 86. He should have switched to was it Montgomery? Was something Montgomery for the Packers?
Oh, Ty Montgomery, yeah,
rocking number 80.
Because I think he got drafted as a receiver, and they just straight up like moved him to running back, and he's rocking 88. Cordell Patterson had that too with the Atlanta Falcons. Was like he was wearing 84 playing running back, and like I didn't hate it, man. I thought it was so weird that like I couldn't help but be like, this is cool.
What, with Cordell Patterson?
Yeah, both of them, honestly. Well, Ty Montgomery not so much, just because he played for the Packers, and I don't like them. But Cordell Patterson, like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I remember a Teddy Bridgewater quote from a couple years ago where he was like, "You can wear whatever number you want," and he was wearing like number 98 or something.
Teddy Bridgewater. Yeah, when he first signed with the Lions in the preseason, he wore number 50. He later changed it, but he did wear number 50 for us in the preseason.
Guys, you can wear whatever number you want. There's no rules.
They got rid of the rule. You can do that now.
Oh, that's terrible. At some point, it's going to happen. All the single digits and team numbers are going to be taken, and someone's going to get a quarterback, and they're going to be rocking number 38.
Yeah, 22, the old Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, the old Stetson Bennett, old Doug Flutie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the only thing on defense I'm really concerned about is obviously we talked about the edge rusher, and you had that quote from Kirby. Do you have that? About and it's Elo Mendoza, right?
I think it is Elo.
I think that's how they're pronouncing it.
Elo. He also said that like Elijah Griffin has been pretty crazy too. But yeah, Kirby Smart said that he expects Mendoza to flourish at Georgia. He goes, and this is something that I feel like Kirby Smart doesn't really say about players. Maybe you could Google this and just prove me wrong, but he goes, people are going to know that name before the year is over, and I'm sure he's going to get people to pronounce it the right way. He's a tremendous kid. He's a hard worker, really good athlete, and we're looking forward to watching him flourish in the system. Kirby Smart saying that people are going to know his name before the year's over. I think that's kind of interesting. I feel like he doesn't usually go that far to hype up an individual player. Like, he says nice things on his players all the time, don't get me wrong, but like that, this guy is going to become a name by the end of the year. Like, that made me perk my ears up a little bit for sure.
For sure. Also, from the number perspective, I was looking at Georgia's roster. He's number 18.
Yeah, that's solid.
I think we have like 3 number 18s right now.
Yeah, I was looking at that too earlier.
Because I was looking. There's like I think duplicates of every number until like 25 or something like that. Obviously, we don't have a number 21. No, 22 is the lowest number. For Frank Sinkwich. But yeah, Todd Robinson is 22. He's the only. That's the lowest number that Georgia doesn't have duplicates of. But yeah, Sokovie White, Elo Mendoza, and Jonte Gilbert are all listed at number 18. So
Jonte Gilbert's gonna have to change that number, man.
Gilbert's not getting on the field, I think, in 2025 as long as he's.
Both of those guys are though. Yeah, Sokovie White, I think, is gonna play.
And that's what I'm saying. Jonte Gilbert's not getting on the field in 2025 if he doesn't change his number.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, no, Elo Mendoza. I think there might not be a player on the team other than like Gunnar Stockton. I think there might not be a player on the team with more like riding on his performance than Mendoza. And just because I think pass rush is. I hate to break football down like this because football is the ultimate team sport and everything is equally important. At a certain point, but it's like I think edge rushing might be like. Pass rush might be the most important aspect of defense. I think you can hide your defensive deficiencies a lot better with a good pass rush than you could if like the rest of your defense sucked and your DBs were really good, or if your inside linebacker play was really good. Like if you're getting pressure, like you can really get away with a lot of other stuff going wrong for you. And Georgia, I mean, Georgia loses guys, particularly on the edge, a lot, to the draft just because they get these insane recruits and they develop them and they send them to the league. That's just what they've been doing. But we've talked about this all summer. I mean, this is like the one year that like the cupboard is not really stocked with with the established, this guy is going to come in and be the next insane guy for us. And Mendoza, they had to get out of. I think he was like the spring portal window, right? Like he transferred like pretty late.
Oh, and, I think you're right about that.
Yeah, and then you have like Quintavious Johnson, who is a guy that like has been around with the team for a while, but like hasn't seen the field much. Gabe Harris, another guy.
He's just a redshirt freshman, right? Quintavious Johnson.
He's
a sophomore.
Yeah, okay. He's been with the team for a couple. Okay, maybe not as long as I thought then. And then you have Gabe Harris, who's like another guy with like, was a crazy recruit coming in and had a lot of hype, but just for one reason or another has not been on the field a ton. So
yeah,
Mendoza was an established player at Army. He's coming off a very productive season. We've heard good things about him as the brief time that he's been here, and I really think like a lot of how good Georgia's pass rush is really hinges on how well he's able to come to Georgia and adapt to the SEC, which is a tall task for sure.
For sure. We got Ned Underwood chime in here in the chat. Chase Linton off the edge.
Chase Linton is a true freshman who he went to North Atlanta High School, which is my alma mater. I don't know who this Ned Underwood fellow is though. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing in our chat.
Get this clown out of here.
Chase Linton's gonna be a beast, man. Go Doves.
Chase Linton, we don't speak very fondly of this guy in Georgia circles these days, but as a prospect, as a football player, he reminds me a lot of Adam Anderson. Yeah. And I feel like Adam Anderson was just very raw. Always like 6'5", like 210, 215 or something coming out. That's kind of what Chase Linton reminds me of. Like he'd be a guy who surprised me. He would surprise me if he was a guy who was ready year one, just from like a physical maturity standpoint. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about just a long, like twitchy edge rusher like him. I feel like I kind of forget about Chase Linton from that perspective. And then who's the 5-star that I'm forgetting about? Edge rusher.
Joseph Jonah Jr.?
No.
Isaiah Gibson.
Isaiah Gibson, yeah. And so, I'm not even really thinking about any sort of contribution from Isaiah Gibson. So, like, if Chase Linton or Isaiah Gibson were to somehow step up, and edge rusher just feels like such a position where I'm not going to bank on a true freshman coming in and making an immediate impact. But if they did, it's a ultimate X factor for this team. Yeah,
you try not to count on that ever, like a true freshman just coming in and saving you, but particularly not off the edge. Although, again, like we said earlier, that would be a sweet added bonus and at a position where they particularly need guys to step up. But yeah, I mean, they did a great job recruiting edges this past year and the year before that. So hopefully, this is kind of the year where the edge rush kind of is what it is for a year, and then Georgia kind of gets back to having those, homegrown guys just screaming off the edge like they're so accustomed to.
But great call out, Ned. I appreciate you watching. Chase Linton, give him his flowers. But yeah, and then on that D-line group, I'm just I'm excited to see how it shakes out in the fall camp and what group we see. But we know they're going to play a lot of guys there. Yeah. I'm really curious to see who are the guys that are playing the most snaps, because there's just so much potential, so many highly ranked players coming out of high school. Who's got the most experience outside of Christian Miller?
Yeah, I mean, like, we know Christian Miller, and that's like,
who am I blanking on right
Jordan
now?
Oh, Xavier McLeod.
Yeah, that's probably the two most snaps of any guys that have played on that defensive line. So I don't know if it's Jordan Hall, Joseph Jonah Ajonye, if it's Elijah Griffin as a true freshman. But yeah, like there's going to have to be some guys that have not made a name for themselves to this point that have to step up. But I just kind of trust the D-line to do that. Like, and maybe rightly or wrongly, this team did give up 120 20-something yards on the ground a year ago, like
Yeah.
the most of like the Kirby Smart era, maybe, or at least since year one.
It was pretty.
So I don't know. It's like we were talking about the offensive running game. Like I feel like it's got to be better, and then you name all the reasons of why it could be worse, but surely it can't be worse. So I don't know. I just tend to think that D-line group is gonna clear up, but I'm curious to see who it is.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think you'll be able to stack it up against like, you know, a couple years ago when it was Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, but I mean, I expect a very good year out of Christian Miller. I mean, we've been hearing really great things about him for a while, and he's also just been a very good player for a while. You can see that when you watch the games. But yeah, next to him, it'll be. I mean, Jordan Hall is apparently healthy for like the first time ever, really. So that could be exciting. Elijah Griffin, another guy who's been getting a ton of hype. Kirby Smart was recently calling him out, you know, talking about how good he's been. So yeah, we'll just have to see. That'll be really fun to see in fall camp. I think Xavier McLeod is also going to be a pretty solid player. I mean, he looked good last year before injuries kind of threw his season off. But yeah, I think the run defense. I don't know. I mean, like maybe I should be a little concerned with it was what Kirby like a month or so ago, maybe even earlier than that or more recent than that was like we have to get better at stopping the run. And maybe he was referring to like compared to last year, but I feel like he probably meant like my team kind of sucks at stopping the run right now.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see, but I don't think I don't think the D line is like one of the main position groups that I would be like concerned about. Like I think of all the positions that have like a relative group of unknowns coming in, I think that one will probably be the most okay.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I feel like under Mark Richt, there was like, I don't know, maybe this is revisionist history. It felt like there was a lot of times guys went pro like early, and I was like, I feel like this, and he used like a 4th, 5th round pick or something. Like, I don't know, like a Rennie Curran, I guess is the first one I can think of off the top of my head that like left pro, like went to the pros early and was like not that high. But Orson Charles, I know was one that went early.
There's a perfect example of this.
Who is this?
Geno Atkins.
Well, but Geno Atkins was a baller, so
yeah, he was a 4th round pick, and then he became like a 5-time All Pro.
He may have been even more than that, like a 10-time Pro Bowler or something.
Like he was insane in the NFL, and he was like, you know, a good player in college.
But I mean, that's fair. A guy that goes. It felt like under Mark Richt, that is a good example as far as what we're trying to name. It felt like there was guys that had kind of yet to have their breakout year, and then they went pro kind of before they did it, and you're kind of there's like meat left on the bone, you know. Mm-hmm. I feel like I haven't felt like this for a lot of Kirby Smart guys until Trevor Etienne and Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. Like I really wish those two guys were back on this year's team. Like Ingram Dawkins, I feel like was ready for a breakout year. He never really did it, but I feel like he's got the talent, and he'll be like an 8-10 year player in the NFL or something. But I'm disappointed because he would have been one of the more proven guys on this D-line group.
And like he's still, I mean, I don't really think he would have been able to help them out that much as a run defender, just because he's like naturally a smaller guy. But like, yeah, he has rare juice as an interior pass rusher. I mean, his first step is like insane. I think it'll be he's in Minnesota now. If they can coach him up and, you know, he can like actually refine his pass rush skills and, you know, get a couple moves in there, like he could be one of those really good guys that kind of comes out of nowhere in the NFL, because you saw it. It would be nice to have him for sure.
For sure. But I think hopefully this D-line group is good. And you know, we got nothing to worry about, but I trust Trey Scott and that defensive group over there. Salty Dog chiming in here in the chat. Go Dogs. Well said. Well said, Salty Dog. I appreciate you watching live and tuning in. Tell your friends, like, share, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. Bo, anything else from you, sir?
Oh man, I think that's all I got. We're next week. We're gonna be less than a month away.
Yes, sir. We will be less than a month away. Coming to you Tuesday clock Tuesday at 7 o'clock, like we do every week. I appreciate everyone tuning in live, everyone who's watching the show, and as always, go Dogs.
Woo!